Welcome back this evening. It's time to slow down again, to let the noise of the day drift quietly away. You've made it here, to this small corner of calm where there's nothing left to fix or finish, just a little time to rest. Wherever you are, let your body settle. Let the thoughts still moving through your mind grow softer, lighter, until they fade to a gentle hum. Tonight's story is called The Errand That Never Ended. It's not about getting anywhere in particular. It's just about walking, noticing, and letting things unfold the way they want to. So close your eyes, or don't. There's no wrong way to drift off. Just listen for a while and see where the story takes you. I started out later than I meant to. The sun was already low, hanging behind a mess of clouds that looked heavy enough to fall apart at any moment. I wasn't in a hurry, though. This errand, whatever it was, had already begun to stretch into something else, something slower. The streets were damp, not from rain, but from the air itself. It clung to the bricks and windows, to the corners of signs, to the cuffs of my sleeves. Each sound seemed to carry a little farther because of it. The hollow tap of my shoes, the low hum of a bus idling a few blocks over, a door closing somewhere behind me. I passed a bakery that smelled faintly of sugar and warm air. The lights were off inside, but a tray of cooling bread still sat in the window. I stopped long enough to watch the steam rise and vanish into the dark, then kept going. There wasn't a destination in mind. Not really, just the simple comfort of movement. Every few steps, I caught sight of my reflection in a shop window, stretched, pale, slightly blurred. It reminded me of how evening light doesn't show you who you are, only what you resemble. I turned down a narrow street where the air smelled faintly of wet stone and something metallic, the kind of smell that suggests a storm might arrive, or might not. At the far end of the street, I saw a flicker of light, maybe a window, maybe a sign. I headed that way without thinking. Halfway there, I noticed a small shop with its door still open, even though the lights inside were dim. A bell hung above the entrance, but it didn't ring when I stepped in. The room smelled faintly of paper and dust. Shelves lined the walls, filled with things that didn't seem to belong together. Books, glass bottles, postcards, even a stack of mismatched clocks. Behind the counter sat an old man reading a newspaper by candlelight. He didn't look up when I entered. I almost said something but couldn't think of a reason to. Instead, I wandered between the shelves, picking up whatever caught my eye. A postcard of a city I'd never visited, a small brass key without a label, a book with no title on the spine. When I opened the book, I found the pages were blank, all except for one, somewhere near the middle. It said only, "You're almost there." I closed it gently, placed it back on the shelf, and glanced toward the man at the counter. He was still reading, or pretending to. Either way, I decided to leave the shop the way I found it. Outside again, the air felt cooler. The light had shifted, not quite dark, but darker than before. The kind of in-between that never lasts long. I started walking again, and the sound of my footsteps disappeared into the soft hum of the city. I passed a row of shuttered windows, each one faintly glowing at the edges. It was hard to tell if the light came from candles or from televisions left on in empty rooms. Every window seemed to be holding its breath. I thought about stopping to look closer, but the air had that quiet weight that makes you feel like an intruder just for standing still. At the end of the street stood a single lamppost that flickered in uneven rhythm. I could hear electricity humming inside it, alive and uncertain. Beneath the light, the pavement was broken in places, filled with small puddles that mirrored the glow in trembling fragments. I watched a moth circle the bulb once, twice, then drift off into the fog. It felt like something worth remembering, though I wasn't sure why. The street opened into a small square I didn't recognize. A fountain sat at its center, long dry. A few leaves gathered where water used to fall. Benches lined the edges of the square, all empty. A paper cup rolled slowly across the ground, caught by a breeze too weak to matter. I took a seat on one of the benches anyway, and listened to the sound of the wind moving between the buildings. The city seemed to speak in that language. Air, distance, a murmur that said nothing directly. It reminded me of when I was younger, when I'd walk home late just to watch the world after everyone had gone inside. Back then, I used to think the quiet belonged to me. Now I knew better. The quiet never belonged to anyone. It only lends itself to whoever happens to be listening. Somewhere nearby, a door creaked open, then shut again. Footsteps echoed faintly, then faded. I imagined another person out there, wandering for reasons just as uncertain as mine. Maybe they were running an errand too, or maybe, like me, they had forgotten what it was they'd set out to do. I rose from the bench and followed the direction the footsteps had gone. The street curved slightly, guiding me past an old theater whose marquee still held a few cracked letters. They spelled out a title that didn't seem to belong to any film I knew: The Waiting Hours. The letters flickered once, faintly, and then the sign went dark. I stood for a while, listening to the quiet hum of whatever still powered it. A narrow alleyway branched off beside the theater, half-lit and inviting in a strange way. I hesitated for only a moment before stepping in. The walls leaned close, covered in old posters and peeling paint. Somewhere above, water dripped in slow intervals, echoing like a clock that didn't know what hour it was. Halfway through, I saw a cat watching me from a windowsill, its eyes bright and steady. When I looked up again, it was gone. Or maybe it had never been there. At the other end of the alley, I stepped out onto a street I didn't recognize. No cars, no movement, just rows of closed shops and dim signs. I turned one way, then the other, and picked a direction at random. I wasn't lost, not really, just misplaced for a while. That felt all right to me. I walked until the street began to rise slightly. The pavement gave way to cobblestones, uneven and old. The kind that made every step sound deliberate. A faint glow appeared ahead, not electric, but softer, like the kind of light that comes from something burning low. I followed it without thinking. The glow led me to a narrow courtyard surrounded by tall buildings. In the center stood a small cart with a single lantern resting on its edge. The cart looked abandoned, though the lantern burned steady, its flame protected behind smudged glass. Next to it sat a paper bag, folded neatly closed with a faint grease stain spreading from one corner. I almost laughed. After all, errands often begin with something small, something forgettable like this. Maybe this was what I'd come for all along. I crouched beside the cart and looked around. No movement, no footsteps, only the sound of that quiet, steady flame. The bag was light when I picked it up, the warmth long gone, but the scent still there. Bread maybe, or fried dough. Something comforting, the kind of smell that feels like memory. I set the bag back down, straightened, and looked up at the windows above the courtyard. Some were dark, others faintly glowing with blue light from unseen televisions. I wondered how many people were awake, sitting in silence like I was, halfway between meaning to do something and forgetting what that was. It made me feel less alone in a strange way. A soft gust of air moved through the courtyard, flickering the lantern's flame. When it steadied again, I noticed an owl perched on a window ledge above, its outline faint, almost hidden by the dark. It blinked once, slow, and turned its head slightly, watching me without concern. I didn't move. There was no need. It stayed there a moment longer, then spread its wings silently and disappeared into the night. I stayed until the light in the lantern began to fade. When it finally went out, the courtyard seemed to sigh, as though the night had completed something small and was ready to move on. I took that as my cue. The street ahead looked empty, but not in an unfriendly way, more like a blank page, waiting for something to be written. I stepped forward and the sound of my shoes echoed softly off the walls, guiding me somewhere I didn't need to name. The next street I found opened wider, lined with old brick buildings whose windows glowed faintly amber from within. The fog that had been following me seemed thinner here, as if it had finally tired of keeping up. Somewhere off in the distance, a train moved slowly through the night, the faint metal rhythm like a pulse under the city. It felt good to walk toward the sound, even if it was nowhere near me. I came across a corner shop still lit from the inside. Its window was cluttered with odds and ends, old radios, typewriter ribbons, a cracked globe with missing continents. A small handwritten sign hung crooked in the window. "We're still here." It made me smile. Maybe that was all most people really meant when they stayed open past closing. We're still here. I peered through the glass, but no one was inside. Just the glow of a single bulb swaying slightly above the counter. Dust drifted in the light, slow as falling snow. I thought about going in, but there was a sense that stepping through that door might trap me in time. So instead, I stood for a while, breathing in the cool air, watching the faint reflection of my face in the window until it blurred into the background light. When I moved on, the street narrowed again, curling back into itself like it didn't want to end. I followed it past a row of shuttered cafes and closed bookshops, the smell of rain-soaked pages lingering faintly in the air. The signs overhead creaked softly, rocking with each quiet gust of wind. Somewhere far behind me, a door slammed, the sound sharp but distant, a punctuation mark in a sentence I didn't understand. As I turned the next corner, I found myself standing at the edge of a bridge. The water below was dark, reflecting the streetlights in trembling gold lines. A bus passed overhead, shaking the boards beneath my feet, then faded into the distance. I leaned on the railing and listened to the quiet splash of something unseen below. The smell of river air filled my lungs, damp and metallic, a reminder that I was still somewhere real, even if it didn't feel that way. For a long moment, I stood there, waiting for a reason to move. But the night had its own way of telling me when to stop and when to go. So I pushed away from the railing, crossed the bridge, and let the city pull me in again. Somewhere across the water, I thought I saw movement, a shadow, maybe a person, maybe something else. It didn't matter. Everything in this city had a way of becoming part of the story, even when it wasn't trying to. The streets grew quieter the farther I went. The lamps thinned out until the spaces between them were more shadow than light. I didn't mind. The darkness felt kind in its own way, soft around the edges, unbothered by where I had or hadn't been. A faint sound came from ahead. Not music exactly, more like a slow hum that drifted in and out with the breeze. I followed it until I found myself standing in front of an old laundromat. Its lights were on, though the inside was empty. Machines lined the walls, their metal surfaces catching the light like rippling water. One of them was still running, the window fogged with steam. Inside, clothes turned in slow circles. Shirts, a blanket, something that might have been a scarf. I sat down on the bench by the window and watched. The hum of the machine was steady, hypnotic. The glass vibrated softly beneath my hand. It felt like the rhythm of breathing. In, out, in, out. I stayed there until the sound began to blend with the rest of the city's quiet. When I finally stepped back outside, the sky had turned the faintest shade of blue. Not daylight, not yet, but close enough to suggest it was coming. The air felt lighter, the fog thinning around the street lamps. Somewhere in the distance, a bird called, soft and low. And for the first time that night, I thought about heading home. As I began walking, I passed a narrow alley with a faint glow at the end. Curious, I peered in. There, perched on the railing of a fire escape, sat an owl. It blinked once, turning its head toward me as if to say, "You've gone far enough." Then it looked away, silent and still, keeping watch over a city that was beginning to breathe again. I took that as a sign, or maybe just an ending. I turned back toward the street, the sound of my footsteps fading with each step. By the time I reached the corner, the owl had disappeared into the light, and so, in its quiet way, the errand ended exactly where it was meant to. So here's where the story ends. As you lie asleep, whisked away by thoughts and dreams that no longer need words, the night has taken what it needs. The gentle weight of your tired mind, the soft trail of images that came and went without asking for attention. If you're still awake, that's all right. Sleep never needs to be forced. It arrives in its own time, like the tide returning to shore. All you have to do is stay where you are, safe, calm, and heavy with rest. The world will keep spinning quietly. The air will stay soft around you. And this moment, this small space between night and morning, will hold you as long as you need. Drift a little deeper now. The story is over, but the dream goes on.